Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Miami Minutes. This is the podcast where we chicken strut whatever the hell is going on with this guy through every minute of Miami Connection, 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGann.
I am your other host, John Parker, who's learning some sweet moves from this dude. I'm going to use these in my day-to-day life.
Never has there been more of a... Clearly, this was improvised. Moment in a movie than this right here.
And that's fine, you know, improv on set, perfectly fine. The shocking thing is that they went with it and left it in the movie.
I guess, we'll get to it, because within this minute, of course, which is minute 51, it opens with someone flipping, and it ends a minute later with someone pretending to be a chicken. Yes. Although it ends a couple of seconds after that, but that's kind of like the end of the minute is sort of that whole experience. Let's say
it's quite a minute, considering it's an action minute, and sometimes they're a bit like, oh, what do you talk about? Basically, yet again, like last week, every single thing that's going on is remarkable.
It's just that what is going on in terms of like beyond just literally describing every second of it. It's just like. I know some podcasts will do that, though.
They will. And you know us by now, listeners. We don't do that because it's boring. No. It's boring. But we do, we are back with Mark, the train track terror. I think that should be a T-shirt as well. Destroying those fools who stepped up.
Yeah. Dexy's duh. He's,
yeah.
Sounds like he's throttling the life out of him for a bit.
Well, I actually found this start bit here like really, really brutal. Like it's violent as hell. It's fucking like, holy crap. Like the way Mark just starts like strangling him and throttling him. It's quite difficult to watch. It reminded me of Casino Royale.
I thought you were going to say casino, like in general.
Casino, yeah.
Just like he puts his head in the vice and then just squeezes it until his eyeball pops out.
You know what? I found out that was a scene in it when I was a kid, and I was like, I'm never watching that then, and I've never watched it.
Oh, Man Casino is good. It's a good movie, but it's very much just like, it's Goodfellas too. Like, it's the same setup. It's the thing is, people use that against it, but it's like, well, because Goodfellas is that good. Mm-hmm. Who cares? They basically made the same movie. There's loads of differences as well, but no, I remember watching it when, because I would have been like 11 when it came out, and that was back when my parents like just like you did in the 90s, every Saturday. Your parents would go down to the video shop and they get something for them and they get something for you. And I remember being just in the room when they had Casino on. And my dad flipping out at that. Like because my dad's like, I don't know if he'd do it nowadays because he's much more, because he's a lot older and I think he's just chilled out a lot more. But like, used to be certain scenes in films that just like, he would march out of the room and roar to turn it off and stuff. Like he was that outraged. And I remember that in Casino, and then you've seen The Green Mile, right? Like
yes,
the bit where we call him Edouard Delacroix is when he's executed, and they put the dry sponge on his head.
Oh,
and it's just like
I remember. That's my limit, I think.
But I think I always had that in my head as being like a lot more traumatic than it actually. And it's a rough scene. Like it's tough to watch. But like in my mind, it was always way worse because I remember my dad freaking out about it, and then like really, really like he was marching around the house swearing to himself about how horrified he was by it and all this. I was like, it's just a movie, man. Calm down. Like,
Plus, in that, it's more about, I don't know, it's different. It's more about the emotion. I think maybe that's why it hit him so hard. It's because you connected to this character and its emotion and
that's just because you really hate that guy as well, like the guy who's in Batman and Robin, as I recall.
Yes,
Percy, the guy who puts the dry sponge on, is the leader of the Golem gang. I can't remember what's the actor's name in real life, but it turned out when we researched him, he was like a real creep. Like, he married like he was like 38 or something. And he married a 16-year-old or something. Like, he had a real, very dodgy past. Because I remember we brought on, actually, it's been referenced a couple of times on this show because of her lookalike in the movie, Anna Bagitska. That was her first ever episode, was us. And I remember it been like, I think her experience had been coming on Batman. I was like, yes, we're going to tell you about the sex crimes of this random actor. But yeah, I think he's one of the guys. He was kind of like an up and coming star. Then was in that, and then if you didn't already, Doug Hitchinson, because he's Toombs, I think, in X-Files as well, right?
Oh, right. That's ringing a bell, but I also can't say definitely.
I'm pretty sure. I'll be willing to eat my hat if he's not, but I'm pretty sure he played Victor Toombs in the X-Files. And then he was, if you didn't already hate him for being a bad guy in the X-Files, then you really hated him for being like a little piece of crap in the Green Mile. And then turns out he was like a kind of a kiddie diddler, basically. Like when in his 50s decided to marry a 16-year-old, and everyone was like, it's legal. I'm not doing anything illegal. And everyone was like, I mean,
yeah,
technically, I guess.
It's weird, that, isn't it? Because, yeah, it's like, it's legal, okay, fine. It's still weird.
Yeah.
It's still weird. Why? I wouldn't want to do that. Why would you want to do that? 16-year-olds are irritating.
And we've had experiences when we were covering Wednesday for the Batman at Patreon. And there's a friend of ours it's this day, he still puts on sort of thirst trap videos about Jenna Ortega. He sends them to me. And I'm like, I've already told you, man. She looks like a child to me. Like, I don't have any. I know she's like 22 or something.
But it's the way she's dressed and acting and made up. Yeah, she looks young.
No, but she just, even when she's not dressed up or anything, it's just she looks like she's about 14. It's like I have no interest in that. Like, if I wanted that, if I wanted a deadpan, sardonic, gothic Latino woman, I've got Aubrey Plaza. She already exists. You know?
But she's at least like age appropriate, or in the right age bracket.
Yeah, she's like, Aubrey's probably like near 40 now, I imagine.
Yeah,
she's like, a couple of years older than us, just. But
well, that's how you know you're old, is when you realize, oh, okay, MILFs, let's say, they're just age appropriate. That's
well, she's got that thing though, where she's like, she is, because she played the mum in the Child's Play remake. Yeah. But even then, it was like, oh, she's too young to play a mum. And it's like, no, she is beyond the proper age to play a mum. She is like, she'd be getting to like, well, then she'd be in her 40s. And then classically, that's when you say fertility is supposed to go down. So Aubrey Plaza might be already beyond the pale in that regard. But it's crazy to think about, though, because if I had to guess her age, I'd be like, 30? And then no.
I mean, if I didn't know she was and you just showed me a picture of her, I would say way younger than that. But because I know she is and I've seen everything she's in, pretty much.
Yeah. But anyway, how do we get on to this?
Yeah, I love the way we went down that road. It started off with me saying Casino Royale. Because this strangling reminded me of, when Bond has to kill. It's like his first kill, isn't it? Like a flashback kind of a thing.
You're going to say, like, Mark strips this guy down and then takes out that knotted rope and starts swinging for his balls.
I'll tell you what, the first time I saw that scene in Casino Royale, the ball torture scene, because you don't see it as such, I was like, what's he doing to him? What's he doing? Oh my God.
I think it's our boy Mads doing it too, and Mads Mikkelsen. So like Hannibal tenderizing the meats down there, I guess.
He's into some kinky shit.
Yeah, this is where it all began.
It did indeed.
What a cast that movie has now in retrospect, too. Is it's like, Hannibal Lecter and the new Jim Gordon. Jeffrey Wright's in there, too.
Oh, yeah.
One of the first times I saw him, I was like, oh, I like this guy.
It probably is the first time I saw him. I'm trying to think. Yeah, I reckon it will be.
I think the only thing before that, because he did in the 90s, Basquiat.
Oh, I heard of it, but I never saw it.
Yeah, because Gary Oldman's in it. So now you see these two young, hip guys, like, both of them rocking cool haircuts and stuff. And I was like, that's two Commissioner Gordons right there.
You're two old guys now.
You should have just thrown in Pat Hingle as their fuddy-duddy dad or something. And there you go. We would have been set. But,
hell yeah. But, no, I find this very brutal, as I say. And I don't know if it's a Taekwondo move or not.
Oh, that's one of my notes is like, is this Taekwondo approved? Because like, it seems to just turn into bar brawl stuff. Like, there's no finesse to this.
The closest I could say, if you had a combat sport, it looks like proper wrestling. Like proper, like they call it amateur wrestling, but I always think that sounds a bit insulting.
Yeah.
Like but you're a professional amateur wrestler. How does that make any fucking sense? It reminds me of stuff like that, though, where they're just scrambling around on the mat, going for headlocks and things. Because it's like a wrestling headlock. But like in a brutal fight.
Yeah. But yeah, it still just really struck me though. It was just Mark's just like, all right, the hell with this. I'm like, after all my teachings, no one's around. I'm just gonna go for this guy, old-fashioned style. Like,
yeah, I don't believe in violence, but I'm gonna strangle you.
Yeah. So like even like it seems like something that could be in Roadhouse, but Dalton and Roadhouse would have more of a finesse than this. Like,
yeah. But and again, I don't mean that as a diss. It's not like, oh, there's no finesse, oh, it's shit. It's like, no. It's like intense. It's genuinely good.
It should be in like the finale when he is losing it, and at the end because the weird two-tone finale is like oh yeah, Mark's lost everything. He is just going insane and like massacring people. This kind of feels, unless this is supposed to be the setup for it. This is like like that scene in The Dark Knight where you have like Harvey Dent abducts David Desmulchian.
Yeah.
And he's like, is still when he's good, white knight Harvey Dent, but he starts flicking the coin and pointing the gun at his head and stuff. And you're like, it's an indication of what he's gonna be like later. So maybe this is supposed to be like, this isn't approved Taekwondo. It's not Taekwondo. It's not even Taekwondo.
No.
It's just full on good old fashioned redneck brawl.
Strangle you, punch the shit out of you, and it's quite effective. He does well with it.
I think what made it worse for me though is it's the sound effects. I'm assuming it's ADR'd.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's the guy going like he really sounds like he's like this is his death rattle for a second.
I know, it's like you could imagine maybe getting the villain to do this to Mark, and Mark defeats him through honor and things like that. And it's like, no, Mark. To be fair, he's fighting for his fucking life.
Well, just imagine like how Mark would get out of that. Just like he's been strangled by the guy, and all of a sudden you have a close up on the guy's face as he's strangling Mark, and out of the side of the camera, his toe just appears.
You don't see how it's happening. It doesn't matter.
It's like he would have to like bend his leg at like 17 angles to get it up there, but somehow he's doing it.
Mark can do it, baby. He can do anything he puts his mind to.
And afterwards, then it's like his jeans are in tatters because of all the moves he had to bust out. But yeah, so he's down, and this is surprise again though. Because it feels it's such a kind of noticeable segment. The way Dexy's prime got just so smacked out of the movie in the last minute, you really feel like this should be Dexy's showdown. Like he should be the one getting strangled because it's like there is an established relationship between those two guys. Whereas I guess there's kind of one here, but not really, because this guy didn't sign up for giving away his life's earnings to Jeff for indentured servitude and the odd chance that they might be able to defeat two dragons down.
Well, and also like your instinct might be to say, oh, we'll have that showdown at the end, but it's like no, because Mark has to conclude the other rivalries he's got going at the end of the movie. So I think this is the time to once and for all put this one to bed. Yeah. Like he defeats them once and for all, they're gone.
It's just really like the various other rivalries he's got. It's like he doesn't even know that Yoshido exists yet. And yet he is the main villain. It's like, well, how many minutes? We're like, what, 51 minutes in, and he doesn't even know that there's another guy out there who's like a skilled martial artist.
That's true. He only knows Dexy and Jeff.
I guess technically, like, no. I was going to compare it to the first Turtles movie, because they don't meet Shredder until like the very end.
Oh yeah.
And it's a whole. They're probably like, who or what is that? But that scene works great. But I guess though, throughout the rest of the movie, Shredder is like he's got a personal thing where he's like he's holding Splinter hostage and all this kind of stuff. So there is it has a little bit more heft. Whereas Yoshido is like, I've heard a lot about you, Mark, and Mark will be like, I have no idea who you are. Like, what the hell is going on? I still don't know why Dexy's attacked me in the first place. Like, what the hell's happening over here?
No, he's completely oblivious for most of the movie through no fault of his own. Nobody's presenting him with the information he needs. It's
if he's doing that when he's strangling Dexy's he should be like, now talk. He's like, yo, Shito, shut up. Now talk.
Oh, yeah, that'd be amazing.
Shut up and talk.
All right, Batman. breaks the villain's jaw. Talk.
I still remember somebody has a podcast called Shut Up and Talk. I remember thinking it was a really good name.
That is it a Batman podcast?
No, it's just I think it's just they just named it that for the joke of shut up and talk. But...
Right, we're doing yet another side Batman podcast. We're going to call it that. I don't know what it's going to be about. I'll figure that out later.
Yeah. Well, I got I actually got you might have to cut this out though, but Alex Graditz, who we had on this past season. He messaged me out of the blue going like, so you guys haven't covered The Batman yet. And I was like, have we covered all 655 minutes of The Batman within the last year? No, we have not. And he's like, yeah, I'm friends with the guy who played the mayor in it.
Why didn't he say something?
Yeah. And he's like, yeah, I could probably hook you up if you want to talk to him. It's like,
absolutely.
So the guy the Riddler kills at the start and like wraps his head in duct tape. Well, like that guy. Like, yeah, like
we need to.
We won't be getting that movie for a while, but we could just have him on just to be like, so you were in a Batman movie. What was all that about? But
yeah, that's a tough one now because now I want to get him on. And
I mean, it could be like we still could just bump someone in the end minutes of Mask of the Phantasm. Go if you can make like next week. Come on, let's talk about that.
But it feels like we need to talk to him about the Batman.
Yeah, that's the thing. But again, though, we wouldn't be getting that for like theoretically ages. Like,
yeah.
So it could just be we'll have to just do like. I understand you're in a Batman movie, but do you want to talk about Adam West?
We'll figure it out. We'll come up with a way of doing it. We'll figure that out.
I think it could just genuinely have a side project called Now Talk.
We talk to various people involved with Batman, just about their experience. Yeah.
There you go. And then everyone was like, why didn't you get them on the main show? I feel like, what do you know? we just didn't.
But, something we've not brought up here, this guy, he might be getting strangled, he might be choking to death, but he's shirtless. Take a drink. He can't, but you can.
Maybe it wasn't so much the strangulation, because there's a lot of dust going on. Maybe he's just, like, retching on all the dirt going into his mouth. Like, oh, goddamn, I need a drink.
Oh, my God, no. Oh, that's horrific. That's worse than getting strangled. Oh, shit, no. I hate stuff... Oh God, no! This is going to sound crude. I was going to say I hate stuff that goes in my mouth like that. But no, I do. Like you accidentally swallow something. Oh God, there's no way of this not sounding obscene.
There was multiple. That's what she says right there.
I'm just going to stop. You all know what the fuck I'm talking about. God damn.
I remember that really freaking me out. Remember that episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm? Where Larry has a pube stuck in his throat from going down on Cheryl. And it's just the whole episode he's just going around going like...
See, and it's not her fault, despite how he kind of makes it sound like it's her fault. But it's still not nice.
I'd love to get into anything too crude, but like I in general have... I have nothing in general with going down there. I know there's a debate amongst men about whether it's the right, and it's just, guys, just pleasure your partner, just whatever way. Come on, just grow up. Come on. Well, but the one thing that would put me off it's just like thinking of like, I'm hoping I don't get anything stuck back there because really it effed me out on Curb that time.
Oh no, it's horrible. It's absolutely not that in particular. Just anything that so I've had some stuff. Oh, God, this is gonna sound obscene again. I've had some stuff get stuck in my throat. That then it then makes you gag. I'm not being obscene, listeners. I'm being completely clean here. It then makes you gag and you think you're going to be sick, and it's the worst thing in the world.
Again, that was one of the it's now the forever legacy of Aerosmith's "I Don't Want to Miss a Thing." Most people associate it with Armageddon because it was the spin-off single from that. But I just always remember it being in the movie The Sweetest Thing, which was like a kind of... I imagine The Sweetest Thing would probably be reevaluated now, because its big thing when it came out was like it was a gross-out, puerile sex comedy, but it starred 3 women. Yeah. And everyone was like, ugh, I don't want to watch this, but like, American Pie, oh, great! So there could have been like a little bit of like, oh, nowadays, though, whenever there's a bit more like... in a post-Broad City world where it's just like that whole show was just ladies banging and just been crude about stuff.
It's funny that I liked Broad City because that, not that it's women, it's just I don't normally like anything crude. I'm just like, it's boring. But there's something about the way Broad City did it. They pulled it off, and I don't know how they pulled it off.
I remember trying to watch the Turtles with you that time, John. As soon as you heard the lyric, Raphael is crude but rude, you were just like, just turned off the cartoon. I was just like, don't want to know about it.
I was going to say I'm out, but then that's another dirty reference in a way.
But no, I remember there's a bit in The Sweetest Thing where Selma Blair is like giving a guy, down there, servicing him down there.
Yeah.
And apparently he has a ring and it gets caught on her tonsils.
Oh, like we can say it on this show, a cock ring.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing that actually I was reading the whole thing because obviously all the hoopla around Barbie recently that they had cock ring Ken, which was a thing like in the 90s. Apparently they brought out a Ken that was like, you think he was called like disco ring Ken or something, but he like is very 90s looking. He had the kind of like that like silver lame vest.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, the floppy boy band hair. But he had, like, a little ring around his neck. And because he looked so overtly like, this is coded, Mattel probably didn't know what they were doing.
Yeah.
They thought this is just the trend. But he looked like a gay guy. And he had a ring around his neck. And everybody was like, that's a cock ring. And he's in the movie. Like, he's in... you see there's a little bit where they go up to Weird Barbie's house.
Yeah, I remember him in the movie. I just never thought.
Yeah, it's the bizarre cameo of Rob Brydon as Sugar Daddy Ken, but Sugar's Daddy Ken.
I still am not over seeing Rob Brydon in the Barbie movie.
Yeah, that was so. I hate now we've ruined that as a cameo for anyone, but like that really was just sitting there going, what? Friggin' Rob Brydon. And then the guy next to him was supposed to be Cock Ring Ken, but and again too, like in thinking about that scene as well, where like all the only two Kens up in the weirdo Barbie's house are the two ones who were very overtly coded as being gay as well. It was like they're not down there with the hyper patriarchal Kens and whatnot. It's like, I wonder if that was a deliberate thing they're going for.
And then what's Alan?
I think Alan's supposed to just be the non-hyper masculine male, like the average guy who's like not into all that stuff.
Yeah, I could see him even like I'm gonna just read into things, right? I could say he's ace and non-binary.
Yeah.
He's got an asexual vibe.
Yeah, but I think they were trying to. I just interpreted it as they're trying to say like it was almost like a borderline not all men move of like.
Oh, absolutely is. Yeah,
because like all the Kens are all into this now, but like except Alan, he's not into it.
Well, that's the thing because it's got a lot of like great political messages and things like this. But they were very clever with it. With that, like you still have to. I don't know. That's probably the wrong word. You've got to dumb it down though enough that it makes sense to young people.
Yeah,
to because kids are going to watch it. They know that. So even though it's maybe not aimed at as young an audience as you might think, they still need the messages to make sense to a young crowd. So you've got to sort of touch on themes and not be too complex.
To be fair, though, that was one of my criticisms of the movie. Is a lot of it is just flat out stating the themes.
Yeah,
there's no attempt at deftness. There's no attempt at subtext. It's just like this is the text. We are telling you what we are saying. There's no like way you can confuse this, even though many people seem to walk out of it very confused as well.
I think they're just doing that deliberately. I think they're deliberately being jerks and getting it wrong. Yeah.
I'll have to say though as well because it's out now. Like it's it's obviously it's out in cinemas, but if you want to watch it again in your comfort of your own home, you can do so now. Even though it's not officially out yet, but et cetera, et cetera. But because I was traveling yesterday, I rewatched that, and because I'm doing Fight Club Minute at this weekend, and I gotta tell you, fascinating double bill. Like really,
that's the real Barbenheimer.
That was genuine. I was like, forget Oppenheimer, like Fight Club and Barbie, like weirdly complement each other. Like as movies, they're really the compare and contrast between them is just so interesting. Like there's jokes made in Barbie that are like tie into things in Fight Club that I'm like, there's a video essay to be had out of this. Like there's genuinely like you could almost do a Barbie minute versus Fight Club minutes of just looking at both movies minute by minute and been like, what are both of them saying now? They're 23 years apart between them. And one of them's obviously from a very male perspective, and one of them's from a very feminine perspective. But all the stuff about masculinity in crisis, all with the Kens, totally applies to all the male characters in Fight Club. all the stuff about self-improvement and self-destruction and what does it mean to be a person and all that sort of stuff. It's all present in both of them. And it's watching back to back, I was like, holy moly, these two things really do go together. Like, it's such a weird combo. But yeah, forget it. It's Barbie Club or...
Barbie Club, baby.
Barbie Club.
We're doing it.
We'll call it Fight Barbie, but I think that might be too aggressive.
I don't want to fight Barbie. I love Barbie. Although, speaking of fighting...
yes, of course.
Back in the minute, we see an idiot goon go to attack John with a metal pole, right?
Yeah.
But he completely telegraphs his attack. Yeah. Like, I thought it was a bit like a villain in the game Quake. You know, there's a giant scream before very slowly approaching and missing by a mile.
Yeah. Well, he sounds exactly like what we brought up last week with Han Solo chasing the stormtroopers. He's doing the same. Like, yeah, that's what Han's doing, booting down after those guys. He's doing the John here. It's like, for a second, I was like, is John doing that scream? Like, because that would make him look really bad. That looks like he's properly bricking it and
or
running
maybe he's
away.
Pretending, so they follow him, and he's actually luring them into his trap again. Look.
Yeah, but no. To look at him, no, he is Cucumber Boy in this. To be fair to him, he's very, very composed throughout this whole scenario. Probably because the actor is trying to remember where his marks are and his cues.
And I don't blame him for that. It's the first time he's ever acted. I get it.
Although, to be fair, they might not have had any marks or cues when they were making this either. Because
what are you talking about? There's a mark there, strangling a guy.
Where's my mark? He's right over there. No, I mean the yellow tape you put down on the floor. Damn it.
That's why they had to get rid of the marks on the floor, because it's just getting confusing now.
Can we call him like Kim or something? Grandmaster Kim. It's always Grandmaster Kim. Why not just name him anything? No, let's not start that again.
my other favorite bit about this is the well, actually, hang on a minute. I've just realized this kick that John delivers. I think that's a face kick.
Oh, let's see.
Because I did kind of go a little bit frame by frame. I think it hits the face and not the upper body.
Let's see. It's a tough one to call. If the guy's head is going back far enough, I would count it as a head kick.
We're going to count it as a head kick. I think, like, I've got it frozen at second 11, and I think he's just kicked him in the head. So I'm going to let you all have another drink. Lovely jubbly. And then, anyway, the thing I really, really love is the way he goes down from this kick. Because if you notice, he hangs on to a bit of the train as he goes down.
Yeah.
And to me, it's almost like the actor said, I'll take the hit, but I'm not going to smack onto that ground. No way. I am not going to throw myself, all right?
I'm scraping my elbow. Come on, there's gravel down here.
Yeah, it's like a really controlled fall, isn't it?
Although it's weird, though, because then, like, I just found it odd, though, because it seems like, all right, so we took care of that guy. Split second later, both of them are on top of the train.
Yeah, the guy follows him like half a second later. So, okay, that kick only delayed him then, I guess.
Yeah. To be fair, they could have got around this very easily by just literally having them switch shirts. And I wouldn't have been able to tell the difference between those. You know, I would have been like, oh, it's a different guy. That guy was in red. This guy is in green. And there you go. So.
No, but it wants you to think it's the same guy. That's the thing. He's recovered, and it's weird. Because he goes up the ladder after him. You know, it delays him not 1 second.
He's like some kind of not giving up pole guy.
It's absolutely fucking bonkers. I love it though. I love it. It's like it made the entire cool kick worthless.
It is all because this whole little segment is a bit weird. It feels like it's almost padding because it's like. Because he goes up the top of the thing, and you're like, is there going to be a fight atop the tanker? And then it's like, no, they're down by this sand trap, like, instantaneously. Like, they jump off a thing, and there you go. It's like the switch. You could have literally saved a couple of seconds and just cut straight to John and this little sand trap.
Yeah.
Beating all these guys who all appear out of nowhere. And him doing, like, as if he negotiated with YK Kim. But he's not quite as cool. Because remember, Mark was doing this in the street.
Yeah.
In the earlier scene. Like, just like slicing and dicing fools as they came at him one by one. Looked awesome. But John Donuts is like, yeah, I mean, technically proficient. I'll give him that, But
yeah, he's very, very good. Like, kicked the shit out of me.
yeah.
He's battering these guys.
Yeah. I did note then, too, because one guy comes up and approaches him. And you can see that he's got a good old-fashioned ironed-on patch on the back of his denim vest there.
Oh, yes.
I managed to decipher what band it is.
Amazing. Okay, I'm into it. What does it say?
I had to do a proper, just like, computer, freeze.
Enhance.
Go in 68 degrees. Rotate.
You are in Blade Runner, basically.
Yeah.
You've got that device. I used that on the Blade Runner video game, and it was an absolute fucking nuisance.
I think I remember, like, just the first time I watched the movie and the latest time I watched the movie. Still not been like not really understanding like how the technology of it worked, because it's like it's like literally going around a corner at one point.
That's the thing. Like if it just enhanced an image and zoomed in and like cleaned it up, you'd be like, yeah, okay, I get that. The thing turns.
Yeah, he literally was like, right, so I'll rotate 90 degrees, like I go around the corner to see what's in the mirror. It's like you might as well just have Harrison Ford go computer zoom in and go into that room and look around to see what's in the mirror.
Yeah, it's like a live camera. It's supposed to be a fucking still image.
yeah. But it's like, but it's the future.
I think you do just have to wave it away with like, I don't know, some future shit. Though.
Yeah, although it's not the future now. Like, what was it just passed there the other year? Then at the age of Blade Runner. So
that's a good point. Yeah.
So then we got Ryan Gosling future to look forward to now, I guess.
We're coming up to it.
Yeah.
I mean, that future, it still wasn't wonderful by any means, but it seemed better than the world of the original Blade Runner. Like, some things have changed.
I thought you were talking about, like, the Blade Runner universe. You're like, it's not perfect, but it's better than the world we've currently got.
Oh, well, I mean, that goes without saying. But no, it's better than the world of the original, because... Batista's character's a farmer, and you get to see like, some of the world has like reverted a little bit to a nice natural. Because in the first movie, I always got the vibe, this is the whole planet's one city. It's
that's why I always found the original ending. Well, not the original ending, the ending that had upon original release that was like the studio mandated new ending.
Oh, where they're driving off.
Yeah, they used the cut footage from the opening of The Shining.
And you can tell it's The Shining.
Yeah, because like, why is he in like an old car? Yeah. And why is it out in like the mountainsides? I was like, I thought like, the whole planet's like an industrial hellhole. Like that's just the world now. I was like, find out like, no, they still got rollicking countrysides, and you just go out and live there. It's like, well, why doesn't everybody just go and live there then?
It made it seem not so bad. It's like, well, these are the idiots for choosing to live in the city.
Yeah. Although I guess you could say, like, people probably living in horrible shitholes in the city today, and they, like, why aren't they going out to live in the country?
Well,
it's that sometimes it's not a matter of choice, really, is it?
That's true. That is true.
But anyhow, so look, I managed to decipher from computer enhancements and screen capping, and then just looking up because I thought like this guy looks like he's a rock guy, and it's like judging by the era, I'm gonna say metalhead. Yeah. I guess see when he's lying down on the floor there, like the first two letters were R.A. And so I just looked up a list of heavy metal bands, went through till I got to Alphabet, and then R.A. First band that popped up was a band called Rat. With two T's.
Yeah, I've heard of Rat, yeah.
And then I looked them up, and their logo is exactly the same as that. And I was like, well, yep, that's who it is. It's Rat.
So, amazing. He's got Rat.
Because he is a rat. He's a dirty goddamn rat.
He's a doity rat.
Yeah.
In fact, insert a rat track here, Mr. Editor.
Put on the Boomtown Rats. I mean, it was a Boomtown Rats fan. That would have been amazing.
I was about to say, I'd love it if it was a Boomtown Rats badge, because that's so like uncool in this period as well.
He's got like this T-shirt says, "I don't like Mondays." And stuff. I did some preliminary research on Rat, because this is one like I went to my brother because he was a big metalhead back in the 80s, And I was just like, you must have some info on Rat. And he's like, you'd think so, wouldn't you? Because I know all those bands. And I know of Rat, but I couldn't tell you a single goddamn thing about them. And he's like,
Yeah.
I'd never liked Motley Crue. I was never into them, but I could tell you everything about Motley Crue. Poison, all those guys. Like, friggin', the Cinderella, all the proper bargain basement, crappy metal bands that no one cared about.
Yeah, I was
like,
never into any of them. I maybe it was just the wrong era when I was growing up or something.
I think I always wanted. I think I've mentioned it potentially on this show. I've definitely mentioned it on Batman. My secret aspirations. I say secret. I've mentioned it several times. My aspirations to be a metalhead. Because I just look at Wayne's World, all that. Maybe it's a nostalgia thing too, because they were like the teenagers / in their 20s when I was a little kid.
Yeah, so you wanted to be them. Yeah,
and it always looked like Wayne's World. They always look like they're having a great time. Those guys just headbanging and going out and partying at that weird club that Meatloaf's the bouncer at, and like this, Bill and Ted and stuff. It was like, the whole thing's like, oh, they're idiots, but like, Bill and Ted are genuinely sweet guys. Wayne's World, they're good guys.
Yeah, but they're the cool metalheads. This is the problem. Then you've got your Motley Crue wankers.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah. But I always had like a little aspirations. I wish I was like, but I think I'm too self-conscious. And I'm too, like, jaded and cynical to be a metalhead. I think I would be too, like, sort of self-aware headbanging and stuff. I couldn't go out with, like, all the accoutrements of being a metalhead with, like, the big, the glam metal hair and, like, the cut-off denim vests and the studs and stuff. I'd be like, yeah, I'm in the uniform, I guess. Like, I wouldn't feel... Yeah. So I always wish I could have been one. But I don't think I'm too. I don't know, my heart's too hardened to do it. I think.
See, I grew up, and you will have done as well, in the era of nu metal. So that was always my style. I never did the older style. Yeah. But now looking back, I do wish I had a brief period of those outfits you just described. It would have been quite fun.
Yeah.
So but it wasn't cool then. It was old hat,
And there was always a kind of innocence in it where it was just like, I guess it was all simplistic stuff. The White Snake, all these guys is just like babes and headbanging and going out and partying, and it's like, it's not, I mean, yeah. But then you realize like, it's probably a lot of assaults going on behind the scenes, and it's probably not good people, But I'll have to say that I have nothing on White Snake, so don't take that as me saying that White Snake did anything like that.
No, it's on the air. Niall is accusing White Snake of assault.
Yeah, but friggin', like even Motley Crue, even that friggin' Pam and Tommy shows, it's like, well, Tommy, he's a jackass, and he's an actual abusive husband and stuff. He's an asshole. That doesn't
surprise me one bit.
Yeah. So it's there probably is a bit of that, but I have an idealized version. I wish I was living in Wayne's World, literally, like where that was just. And it's never quite. I suppose maybe you're supposed to look at those guys as kind of like losers because they're like they're not real. They've not got jobs. They're just kind of hanging out. They're clearly in their mid-20s. They're just sort of living with their parents and just hanging around, going out every night. And it's like they seem like good people, and I don't begrudge them it, even though I guess maybe you're supposed to. But
I think you are supposed to a little bit, but you still love them. It's a tough one to write that actually, where you fully get the impression that you're meant to be like, oh, come on, guys, grow up, while still loving them. Yeah. How do you write that character? That's
maybe people who know more, cause like who know more about Wayne's World. It's like I literally think I know every word of Wayne's World, but and most of the second, I haven't seen the second one as much, but I've seen it many times.
I think I might have seen it maybe more. It was always on telly when I was a kid. Yeah.
I was actually pondering, and then I wasn't too sure if the Midnight Boys had already covered it. But I was trying to think of like good things to do for like Patreon coverage, and because Wayne's World 2 has all the whole riff on The Doors.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, Val Kilmer was in The Doors. We should just do a review of The Doors. That's a contentious movie.
Absolutely.
Because it's contentious, it's pretentious, it's 3 hours long, and it's rough to get through. It's worth doing a Patreon episode on. But I have a feeling those guys did it. Like I'm sure hundreds of other podcasts have done reviews of The Doors as well. But yeah, let's put a little pin in that, so maybe we'll cover it down the line.
I like that idea.
Yeah, but no, I don't remember at any point in any of the Wayne's World movies is there where someone says to them, maybe you guys should get jobs. Maybe you should friggin' buck up and buy in and all that, and like, there's never, I don't recall it ever been questioned that were they making money from the show? Like, I don't think they would have.
I get the impression, no, absolutely not. In the world of the movie, no.
Yeah, but they're going out every night, like.
Yeah.
But then you never really see them like going out drinking. They're always just sort of hanging. Like,
that's a good point.
They go in that bar or that club, and they're just like walking around and enjoying the music. But but anyway,
yeah, maybe that's to get a different rating, because if they drink alcohol, maybe it bumps it up.
Yeah, I might have seen them more scummy. If you show them just gonna not get wasted, it will make them seem like wastrels, Yeah,
because I mean, surely the implication as well is, I would assume they smoke weed, right?
I guess so. But even though metalheads, if you're getting into that, they could be doing speed or anything. Like, you're going to get into
but those characters don't seem like they're on speed to me.
I don't know if there's a big crossover between, because metal's so like and weed's so kind of like the different kind of speeds. Not that kind of speed, but So yeah, no.
Speed was the punk drug back in the day. It wasn't considered a drug to a lot of people. They're like, it's just a thing that perks you up.
It's the Arnold Schwarzenegger steroids. It's the back all over. Yeah. It wasn't the problem back then. It was just a thing you did. Everybody was doing it.
That's basically what the punks said, because a lot of them were like anti-drug. But they would still do speed, like some of them. And it's like, oh, okay, that's a bit strange.
Oh. But we're really going on tangents, isn't it?
Yeah, well, because there's not loads to delve into.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, so I had my preliminary notes on Rat. They apparently date back to Hollywood in 1973, where they were originally a band called Fire Dome.
Love it.
And they were founded by a guy called Stephen Percy. And then they changed the name to Crystal Pistol.
That's fantastic.
And then,
oh wait, that'd be a great name for a stripper.
I know in Yellow Jackets there was a character named Crystal, and they always called her Crystal the Pistol. So maybe now, because she was like a teenager, it'd be a weird for like yeah. But it does sound so like a stripper name. I wouldn't be surprised if there already is strippers out there called multiple Crystal Pistols out there.
Oh, it'd be a brilliant name, yeah. I want to become a stripper just to use it.
I think even the friend of the show, Crystal Beth, still clinging on to that website name, because she always says when she's guests on other shows that like she's had drag queens and stuff like offer her thousands to own like crystalbeth.com.
Well, I'm sure there's a drag queen called Crystal.
I think it must have been that drag queen coming and going like, I will give you money. And Crystal would have been like, no, that's my website.
I'm trying to think now. There did used to be a Crystal Meth. But was there a Crystal Beth? I think there was.
Because it's such a drag name as well as the thing. So, but yeah, and then they changed the name to Mickey Rat, which is obviously a space, a joke on Mickey Mouse,
I don't like that.
And then just got shortened to Rat with 2 T's. Doesn't go into why there's 2 T's. And it's one of those ones where you just like, you just look at the info on the side. It's like past members. There's 20 guys there.
Wow! Holy crap!
Yeah, and there's people like Jakey Lee, Robin Crosby, and then some guy called Jizzy Pearl. Which is like,
come on.
I'm assuming that's not his legal name.
Jizzy Pearl. And then the pearl bit's even filthy, really. It's like a pearl necklace.
Oh, totally. Oh, wait, no. His legal name, James Wilkinson. Yeah, so.
So he chose to be Jizzy Pearl. That's just, no.
But people, like, I've seen a singer I follow on Instagram, Chloe Chides, and she's got her own record label. And she has like this really like hot, sexy young ingenue. She's trying to turn into like a star, and her name is Pistina. And she always wears lime green and stuff too to kind of even emphasize the urine-based name. But she's like a really attractive young woman who's just like, yep, I'm going by the name Pistina. It's not like again, that sounds like a drag name.
It does.
But she's just like, no, there's no joke. I guess the joke is just that, piss is funny. But yeah, she's quite happy to go by Pistina, even as she's like, "Yep, I'm just out there. I'm doing my thing." And
is the music like filthy, like Peaches?
It's a little bit. It'll be a bit Peaches inspired, yeah, for sure. Wouldn't be quite as emphatic, But I mean, they're only starting out, So, but yeah, so I'm not too surprised that like a guy back in they're coming from the hard rock scene of the 70s would happily go by Jizzy Pearl. Like,
Jizzy Pearl. Oh,
I think he probably earned it somewhere. I'm sure somebody probably bestowed it upon him. Like he probably did something to warrant the name Jizzy Pearl, and then it just stuck with him for years. So he just had to kind of own it, I guess. But
yeah. Maybe someone called him it as an insult, and he just had to roll with the idea. Like, okay, that's my name now, I guess. Because you can't choose your own nickname. If you choose your nickname, you're a dickhead.
Yeah, I was a kid in school trying to make people call him Snake.
No, not happening.
No, like particularly too in Shaban in the early 2000s, and just coming in like, call me Snake. It's like, no, we're not doing that.
In fact, on principle, I would then give you some awful nickname instead.
I think anyone called Snake. I don't think people in reality get nicknames like that because they're just too like it's too out of an action movie in the 80s. Like
Snake.
Like one of Jeff's guys been called Snake would make sense to me because we could take the piss out of that. But an actual
as soon as we see a new one who fits the bill, we're calling him Snake.
Yeah, but the caliber of nicknames around my hometown was like Smell. Like a guy called Smell Kelly. It's like It Mackay and stuff like that.
Incredible.
But yes.
Did you manage to catch what's on the back of this other shirt? This white ripped up shirt?
No. Have you been there enhancing in the corner as well?
Yes, I have.
Well, we got.
It's not that exciting. It's just clearly they're trying to make him out to be. Oh, he's a badass. He's a rebel. He's a punk.
Has he got Jizzy Pearl written on the back? Or
he's got Jizzy Pearl written on the back. Look at him. He's got his his snazzy hair and everything. His ripped shirt like the wrestler, the Brooklyn Brawler, and on the back, in terribly written sort of pen, is "Eat me." Fuck yeah, eat me. And then there's something drawn next to it, which I think is supposed to be a weed leaf, but it's awful. I can't. It's the worst drawing I've ever seen.
It really does have like "eat my shorts" energy.
Eat me.
Yeah. Well, there wasn't a guy or like in a previous minute though had like a Mickey Mouse T-shirt on. So
yeah.
Was he the odd one? Although I guess maybe he teamed up with the rat guy because they already got like one of them. He likes rat. I like mouse. Hey, will we ever get along? But
oh God.
But yeah, but I think I only remember that guy because it's still kind of shocking that like Disney would let that go.
Yeah,
I'm just guessing that they just never knew about the existence of Miami Connection, but
probably had no bloody idea.
No.
Yeah. Eat me. That you're right. It's not strong. It's like in Disco Elysium, my favorite video game ever. You get a jacket that these punks have graffitied that says on the back, "Piss faggots." And I'm like, that is amazing. And you can put it on and wear this jacket. And I'm like, yes.
I just remember the episode of Peep Show where it was somebody calls Mark something. And they call him like a cock knob or something. And he's just like, his internal monologue is just like, well, what's the point of calling someone a cock knob? You might as well call them a piss kidney. And to this day, every time I have to think of an insult, my mind defaults to piss kidney.
That could be your band, Niall and the Piss Kidneys.
Yeah, there you go. Piss and the kidneys.
You could just be like a straight up Sex Pistols, just be called the Piss Kidneys.
Yeah, I could also see if Pistina from if she's copyrighted that name, because then I could just buy a website, pull a Crystal Beth on her, buy a website called Pistina and the Kidneys. And then she'd be like, or Pistina.com. And she'd, can I buy that from you? I was like, too late.
That's how a lot of people in the early days of the internet made money. They would go out and predicting the rise of the internet, which obviously happened. They would buy up domain names of like famous people and things like that because they were like, they're going to want that name when the internet's a big deal and they're going to come to me and they'll fucking pay me. And it worked. Yeah. Let me tell you.
Totally. It's, Yeah, because I think you still get the sort of. There's still a little bit of it happening. I do, because you'll get people with websites where like their brand name is one letter off or something. It's clearly like they weren't willing to pay. Someone clearly already had the website and stuff. But
Yeah.
I remember then we had after we finished our first season of Batminute, someone had bought like BatmanMinute.com and was like offering to sell it, and I was like, we don't need it.
It's not even the name of our show.
No. It really frustrated me because I don't think they were coming out saying we were going to do Batman minute by minute, but we didn't. And I still, people were going in the comments like, like two guys like just did it there now. Like we literally had just finished. But I was just frustrated because like, fair enough, they might not have known, like, that we existed or whatever. They didn't do the due diligence and went and check. But like the fact that they then would still name the show Batman Minute. Yeah. When Batminute is right there. Like, it was just so frustrating to me. It's like, well, what do we call your other seasons then? Batman Minute Returns, and then Batman Minute and Robin, and Batman
These kind
Minute.
of people haven't got foresight and, like, ingenuity.
Yeah.
This is the thing.
This is just Batman, Batminute. Like, it just goes together. What's the matter with you? But
naming your show's difficult. Like, for some reason, with this one, I felt the plural of minutes was better.
Yeah. Yeah.
It just sounded better than Miami Minute.
Plus, then
I don't know what it was.
If we wanted to switch it up and do 3 minutes at a time, we could just be hey, it says minutes,
It's in the name.
Yeah.
You know what? We're just going to do after this minute, we're just going to do the whole of them in one episode after that.
It's like, we're done.
We're done.
Yeah.
So, yeah, these guys attacking him, though, with Eat Me Dude. John fucking demolishes them.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter that they got the drop on him. He batters them so bad that Kid Rock here just runs away. He fucking legs it. I feel like the real Kid Rock would do that.
Yeah. This is so on brand for Kid Rock. I was always going to be like, is it actually just Kid Rock? Did he start off as an actor in Miami Connection? Because he looks so much like him. And then, everything about this sort of like, the sniveling cowardice of it.
He's a little bitch.
Because he gets knocked down first along with everybody else. Then he gets up. And he
gets knocked down, but he gets up again.
He does. But rather than going with a triumphant, you're never going to keep me down, he kind of just like grabs a guy and throws him in front. And then this guy ends up getting like a pop to the jaw. He's down. And then Kid Rock goes up on the top of the little sandbank. And it's like he's like a lizard, like a monitor lizard or something, trying to like bury himself in the sand or something. Like he just he's like backing into like observing the fight, not wanting to be involved in it, and then as if he's literally trying to hide underneath the sand that's there.
Yeah, it's not going to work, dude.
Yeah.
Maybe he thinks though, like, well, surely John isn't going to beat all these guys. I don't have to get involved. I'll just make sure I stay out of the way. One of them comes at John with a spade.
Yeah, that guy was pretty hardcore. I actually admired it as a move.
Yeah.
It was just real, like, he's just, because he's down and defeated, and his whole thing is just like, well, my God, freaking go at him with a goddamn shovel. Like, that's, or maybe he saw Kid Rock, and he's like, oh, burying yourself in your sand. I can bury this guy in the sand if he just stands still.
Oh, yeah.
So he just starts dropping dirt at John's feet. He's like, wait there. I'll get you eventually.
It does actually look like the setting of The Undertaker's buried alive matches. They always have a mound of dirt and things like this.
It's but yeah, and again too, like, the health and safety on the set obviously wouldn't been great, and fair play to the actor playing John for being okay with this, because this is pretty like, this guy's he's just gonna swing at you with a spade, and there's a chance he could connect. He's not gonna. They're not like pretend swings. He's going for it. So
all I'll say is I agree, but maybe that is one of the reasons they chose the angle for the camera that they have. Maybe it's not as close as it looks.
Oh, it's a camera
like Lord
trick.
of the Rings style,
If we had Blade Runner camera, we could go in and turn to see how much of a distance there is.
It would be useful because, I mean, it does look again, he's really going for it, like Mark style almost. It's very violent attacks, isn't it? Like, I think this guy must be pretty like high up in Kim's students or something, because he seems to really know what he's doing.
Yeah. That's the thing though. Like Kid Rock. Well, at what point is he even in the studio with Mark, like, or with YK Kim? Because everything he does, I'm just baffled by the whole thing. Like, I think they obviously put this in thinking, oh, we need like a comedy beat.
I think that's what it is. Yeah, the guy will be a good martial artist. It's just that's not the character.
He's clearly in shape and stuff. You know, he's got his crop top on there, so we can see his abs and whatnot. But it's just it's everything he's doing is like I've met people like this, like going out like when I was a teenager, going to pubs and hanging out with people. Again, though, my aspiration is to be a metalhead. These guys weren't metalheads, but I was never into them myself. But I used to hang out with guys who listened to like Tool a lot.
One of my friends is like the biggest fucking Tool fan I've ever met in my life.
A Perfect Circle and all that kind of stuff.
Like proggy metal.
Proggy metal, yeah. And they all talk about like the artwork of Alex Grey and all that. They really, really get into it. And they're all white kids with dreadlocks and like, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, it's very middle class music as well.
I don't know if anyone in my hometown could be classed as middle class, but yeah, there would be occasionally then there would be I can think of a few of them. Like they'd get a couple of drinks and then they'd come out and start pulling moves like this and they would look like this as well, actually. And I remember even then I'd just be standing there going like, yeah, okay, yeah. It's like, and then someone just go and put Nirvana on the jukebox again. It was like, yep, this is the scene, But so this kind of off the cuff, this is hilarious, right? Like look at these weird moves he's doing. It's just like, no, there's nothing funny about it at all.
What do we even call what he's doing? It's like a weird dance that he's trying to be like intimidating, but it's no haka.
Yeah. I thought you were making reference to Matthew Lillard in Hackers. Which like, he is a bit like him, yeah. But no, you're talking about, of course, the
New Zealand
traditional
war dance.
War dance kind of thing to do, yeah. But unless maybe it is that he's from a sort of sect of a hillbilly community, and this is their version of the haka. We're a bit very disrespectful about it, but
could be genuinely. And speaking of hillbillies, he comes out with the most hillbilly hick line. He's like, "Come on, boy!"
Yeah. My only thing, it reminded me very much of the way he's moving his arms. It's like he's kind of doing like a chicken dance, kind of. And it was just making me think of like wishing it was Arrested Development. So he starts doing this, and then you just get in the corner like, go, 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 go. I could live. Has anyone in Orlando actually seen a chicken?
And note to myself, put in the sound effect from the show.
Jonky. Go, 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 cha.
God, I hope I can find that. If I can't find it, I'm sorry, listeners.
Oh, no, they're definitely on YouTube. Someone will put the video of the whole family doing each of their version of a chicken.
Oh, God, it's so weird. As you say, it's got to be ad-libbed, and it's remarkable that they left it in the movie. But they are playing it for, like, gags, because the way John looks at him and then takes him down with a single kick, it made me think of Indiana Jones, with the gun.
Well, it's the same. I wouldn't be surprised if the entire concept of the scene was, like, recent movie, Raiders of the Lost Ark, just did this exact scenario, and it was so funny when he, they thought he was going to fight him with a whip, and they just shot him instead.
The difference is in Indy, the joke is that guy is skilled and terrifying.
Yeah.
And Indy he's like, well, I'm not fucking around with him, I'll just shoot him.
And you just have, everything. It's just everything about it is so much better. Just even in just like sick to his stomach, Harrison Ford, with his face of just taking out the gun and putting it back in the holster is so much more funny than everything. And the thing is, though, I do have to compliment John, because the kick he delivers is a pretty good kick. Like,
hell yeah. He's really... I don't know whether this is right or not. They've not mentioned it in the commentary, but I would say his forte seems to be kicks, which could be tied to the fact he's a lanky bastard. He's dead, like, he's leggy, isn't he?
But yeah, it's a perfect, like, perfect form. Just spins, hits him directly on target. Great kick. No notes. My major note is just like, what is Kid Rock thinking? Like, because he's fully aware he was trying to hide in the friggin' dirt a minute ago. He knows he can't take him. So is it just more like, is it just, I know I can't beat him, so just to save face? Because he's even going like, come on, boy, plant one right here. Is like, he's goading him in. Is he hoping that this might be like, if I act weird enough, it might freak him out and he'll be scared or something? Or
I think it's something like that. It's either that or he's thinking, if I act really fucking weird, he'll just, like, walk away.
Yeah.
He'll be like, okay, right, fine, I'll leave you.
Yeah. But just because I think maybe his thing is he's got enough of a kind of honor, I guess, where he's like, I can't just run away. Because he could have run away several minutes ago.
I think he knows, though, John will catch him.
But then, because they were all chasing him, maybe if he ran away, John will be like, all right, that's him. Gone. Like,
very true.
Yeah. So it just seems to me be like, I can't run, I can't beat him, so I gotta just go down and maybe freak him out, and hopefully if he does, like, but I guess maybe he doesn't see how Mark teaches his students though, because like if you seen freaking over in the corner, freaking Dexy's dude getting strangled to death, he might have been like, oh Christ, no, I'm not going near that, I'm not risking it. But John does, he has he does have the kind of clear. It almost feels like they should be reversed. Like it should have been John down strangling people because he's like the novice and he's not as well trained, and then showing you Mark been like just taking him out with clean kicks and stuff, and been like, and then afterwards been like, no, you're doing it wrong. Look, what have I taught you? And all this sort of stuff. But
yeah, I'd maybe have done that. Like, I don't know about John because he's meant to be like the character who was in the romance and things, but I would have had one of the gang be like super aggressive and violent, so then Mark can explain like, no, we don't do that.
Like a Raphael. If John is the Leonardo, you need someone, then you get like Jack Joe Diamond.
Yeah, he could have done it because he's so quiet and reserved that maybe once he does flip, he flips.
Yeah. He just goes on full on, like red division just goes out and starts wailing on people, and then Mark has to be, no, we've been over this. Like,
that'd be awesome.
Yeah, then that's a tension going into the finale then, because this guy's unhinged. We don't know, and then he might end up getting himself killed if he doesn't know how to kind of hone his skills and stuff like that.
I would love that, but I think YK Kim probably thought, no, these are the good guys. They have to be perfect, almost. And it's like, well, no, one of them needs to be slightly flawed, at least, for you to then deliver your message. Because the message that comes up at the very end of the movie, spoiler alert, about, eliminating violence, it's like, well, it doesn't come up throughout the plot. It's not in the movie.
I mean, the elimination of violence, only through throttling our enemies to death can we achieve world peace. But
I like that message, and it fits with martial arts still. But we weave it into the film.
But yeah, and then so that kick is delivered, and then we got a little brief shot of Mark here, but then it's just more setup for the next minute, and that's me noted out for minute 51.
Yeah, I've only got one more thing: the commentary track. It's nothing too much again. It's been a few weeks, so there's not been loads, but they do reveal how they had Grandmaster Quan on hand, who I couldn't find him as such. Grandmaster Quan, who had experience of choreographing on camera. So he could help the guys out, because obviously they say how, doing it for a live exhibition is quite different to doing it for film, and they didn't have any experience of it. All they knew was what they read from some books. Yeah. So apparently this Grandmaster Quan was like, I've done it before. I'll come down and I'll help you figure stuff out. It's fine.
Okay.
And I think if this is the scene where they called him in, I don't know. They didn't specify. It's paid off because this is cool. This is a genuinely good fight, I think.
Oh yeah, look, all the choreography of this is all pretty decent. Like
yeah.
This is every time I say Grandmaster, I was like, Grandmaster Flash? He's like, yeah, they brought him down. They had a party that night, and Kid Rock did a duet with him and stuff.
Oh Jesus! Now I don't want to attend.
But yeah, that's me all done for minute 51. There's the little impromptu poem there. But
I'll leave it in. It was that lovely. And we will break the connection once again. So, as always, speak to us on Facebook at the Miami Minutes Taekwondo Orphanage, which has a lot of members, but obviously it's a bit quieter than Batman because there's not a lot of memes of Miami Connection.
No.
So if you've got Miami Connection memes, come and post them. It doesn't have to be about the episodes necessarily. You can just post memes. They have to be Miami Connection. Oh, well, I'll even accept martial arts memes. I think it's close enough, things like that. I'll even allow the occasional, as long as it doesn't overtake the group, the occasional meme about another so-called bad movie. But only if it's sparing. I don't want you posting 30 in a row.
There's a lot more hardcore admin duties over the Taekwondo Orphanage.
Yeah. I run a tight ship over there. No, I don't really. It's quite loosey-goosey.
The thing, Batman is so broad as well because there's so many movies. This is like Jim Carrey did a thing. All right, that's welcome. You can talk about Sonic 2 if you want here.
Yeah, which I knew when I was setting up the Miami one, it wouldn't have as much traction, but it's to give it an internet presence. You see, because then you type it into Google and more stuff comes up. The more places you are, the more stuff comes up. It's more in your face. It bumps you up the list. It's clever. And also join us Twitter. Miami Minutes, Instagram and Threads, Miami Minutes, all of that's the same. And the aforementioned Patreon for our network, Sleepy Charlie Media. I've actually been thinking, when this is done, we could do some Miami connected Patreon episodes.
Oh, totally.
I reckon.
Oh, definitely.
Like some martial arts movies or so-called bad movies. It'll just be part of the package. It'll just be the same.
Yeah. There must be other 80s movies set in Miami, actually set in Miami, actual Miami connections.
We could do that. I'll wait till this is finished, I think, though, for time. But then we won't be doing this all the time. So we'll have... I don't want to say time a third time. I've just done it 5 times. 6. I'm stuck in a loop. I'm going to have to get out of here before I keep saying time.
Yeah, but things like, the story of Ricky O, all those kind of crazy, absolutely batshit insane martial art movies that are out there. Look at that one as well, the Irish one.
Yes.
Yeah. We'll talk about it. There's many kegs to tap.
Exactly. If you've got any suggestions, do send them our way, because it won't be too long till this is done, really, in the grand scheme of things. So let us know. Actually, I say that. It's only once a week, so there's still like 20 weeks or something.
I think it's like 30 weeks. So only 30 weeks. Minute 51. 30 weeks is like the guts of a year. So
I know. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? 30 episodes of Batman would be like, we're done.
Yeah.
It's going to end in a couple of weeks. But it's like, holy shit, yeah. But no, do send the suggestions our way anyway, and join us again in 1 week for more Miami Minutes. Come on, boys.
Listen to me.